Hello, I am Dr. Manjiri Valsangkar, Director, Bhide Hospital Test Tube Baby Center, Navipet, Pune. Today, let us deal with the practical aspect of IVF treatment. What is the cost distribution of various components in a test tube baby cycle and why one must know the exact estimate of IVF and ICSI before going ahead for the treatment cycle. We understand that test tube baby technology is artificial method of reproduction and it involves a lot of machinery, media, disposables, various chemicals which are mostly imported from outside for their quality, and we help couples conceive with the help of artificial technology. Now, it is known that test tube babies are pretty expensive affair, but one needs to know how expensive it is, what is the exact cost estimate of the entire duration of treatment during the test tube baby cycle. Does it include only one cycle or multiple cycles are included? And it is best to have a written estimate so that the couple and the family can gear themselves up financially before the treatment cycle, so that the treatment cycle goes uninterrupted and a very smooth way and the patient doesn't stress about this later. The first component for the cost of IVF treatment includes injections which are required for growing the extra number of eggs in a human female. Normally, only one egg is created per month. Now, in IVF, what we intend to do is we want more than 4 to 5 follicles on both sided ovaries, so that more the number of eggs, better are the chances of pregnancy, and to achieve these number of eggs, the injections are required. Injections are generally taken for 12 to 15 days, which are recombinant DNA technology injections, which are painless pens, which are slightly more expensive. Otherwise, if the patient is not very affording, she can go ahead with the injections which are to be filled and injected, just like the TT injections which we take. Now, after the injections come the surgeries. So, the surgeries cost is also a major one, that is the ovum pickup surgery, which is done under anesthesia. So, an anesthetist is required, operation theatre is required, and an IVF culture lab is necessarily required. Once we retrieve the eggs from the mother, sperms from the father are taken and embryo is formed using basic technologies like IVF, which are tad cheaper than the best technologies which are recently available, which are known as ICSI, which involves a robotic micro-manipulation machine, which is pretty expensive. After the baby is formed, the baby is cultured for 5 days in a machine which is known as incubator, which takes care of the growth and the culture of your embryo. Once the embryo is formed, this embryo, if we want better results, are frozen and done for a frozen embryo transfer. In case you opt for highest technologies like blastocyst transfer or frozen blastocyst embryo transfer, obviously the expenses are manifold, but whatever type of test tube baby cycle you decide to undergo with your IVF unit, be sure that you are completely aware of the exact cost, expenses and its estimate well 3 to 4 months in advance, so that it prevents any sort of inconvenience on your part as a patient. Another important factor is that these are as far as the IVF labs and the hospital expenses are concerned. Now, the medicines or the tablets which are given to raise the baby in an effective way also cost quite a bit, and these medicines are generally excluded from the IVF packages in most of the centers, including mine. So, the tablets are dependent on what is the age of the patient, whether the patient is more than 40 years or a young patient might require lesser number of medicines and injections. Sometimes patients have undergone too many abortions and miscarriages, so they do require certain artificial support injections which might have to be taken even for 2 to 3 months once they conceive. So, all in all, this is the entire cost of the test tube baby cycle. The basic version of any decent scientific lab in India goes to 1 lakh rupees, and the highest, that is the frozen blastocyst embryo transfer, will cost you somewhere around 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees in the best of the centers. Thank you.